nonagenarian. Nonagenarian. Nonagenearia.
Right it here. It is 2 o'clock. And I'm waiting for a couple of my members to walk in the door who are on their way. But we can start as a, we can't hear our bills, right?
Oh, you have to start as a subcommittee.
Like as a subcommittee? Would that be okay? The reason that I'd like to get started is because we have a great presentation, and because it's 3 minutes after 2. Okay.
2 good reasons.
2 good. Okay, is that better? Thank you. We are going to start as a subcommittee.
We have a quorum now.
We do? Okay.
Adam Gray, Gibson, if you want to ask her to call roll.
Can we have the roll call, please?
Brown.
Here.
Hadley.
Here.
Gibson.
Here.
Gray. Levine. Lopez. Mathis.
Thank you. Other members will be coming. I'd like to take a moment to remember a tireless advocate for older people, especially older women. Betty Perry, known as a nonagenarian, is a well-known and longtime resident of Sacramento. She's a former teacher, Kit Carson Elementary School, and a high school counselor at McClatchy High School. Betty passed away on last Sunday morning. Today we remember her as a tireless advocate for older people, especially for women. Betty was best known as president of the Older Women's League until 2005. She was the co-chair of the local breast cancer early detection program and worked closely with the Congress of California Seniors, Gray Panthers, California Senior Coalition, AARP, the Consumer Federation of California, to protect and advance the interests of California citizens on a myriad of issues. So if you would, just take a moment and let's remember, with a moment of silence, Betty Perry. Thank you. Today, 3 bills will be heard. AB 1136, Stein North, the plastic bag ban fees charged at a point of sale. ACR 38, the Caregiver Task Force. AJR 8, the anniversary of the Older Americans Act. Following the 3 bills that should go very quickly, Dr. Dale Bredesen, a researcher seeking a therapy, treatment, and a combination of therapies and treatments, has accepted an invitation to present to us findings from his recent study that offers hope that we can reduce the incidence of Alzheimer's. I'm very excited about this presentation. So let's get started. Mr. Steinnorth, thank you so much for coming, and welcome to the Committee on Aging and Long-Term Care. Please introduce your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members, and I appreciate being here today. Today I'm presenting Assembly Bill 1136.
Bill. Second.
I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Is there anyone else to speak in favor of this bill? Is there anyone to speak in opposition of the bill? Hey, well, let me just say that I, for one, am in support of your bill. And all I can do now is ask for any of my members to, if you want to make, yes. Mr. Levine.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Steinhardt, for your bill. Unfortunately, I'm not able to support it today. I think that it's somewhat impractical for the people to, at checkout to have their student ID checked if they're a college student, because, you could be any age, or, if you're under 65, because you're saying that people have to be over 65 to not pay the fee. SB 270 does take into consideration people who are in poverty, so people who are on assistance already are able to not pay a fee for their bag. So I think that there are already some rules in place if SB 270 is, goes into law, or it's in law but isn't effective because of the referendum. But so unfortunately, I'm not able to support your bill today.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and thank you, Mr. Steinhardt, for bringing this bill. I supported AB 191 in another committee, which would have eliminated the 10-cent fee. Only in Sacramento can we put together a plan to charge 10 cents for something that's been given away for free for 120 years and call that progress. So I was a supporter of AB 191. I am a supporter of exempting part of the population from the restrictions of this bill. So I will be joining the chairwoman in support of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. We will call the roll. Madam Secretary.
Brown.
Aye.
Brown, aye. Hadley.
Aye.
Hadley, aye. Gibson.
Aye.
Gibson, aye. Gray.
Aye.
Gray, aye. Levine.
No.
Levine, no. Lopez. Mathis.
We will leave the roll open. And thank you very much for presenting your bill.
Thank you.
They're not consent. Okay.
So,
You're right.
Yeah. Which one are you going to call first?
Madam Chairwoman, I'll let you choose which bill you'd like to present first.
How about the task?
Terrific. ACR 38. And I understand I can seal the room if I need to.
that's it?
Did you want me to sit over there? Okay.
Madam Chairwoman, please proceed with ACR 38.
Thank you, Mr. Hadley. Thank you, Mr. Chair. ACR 38 would establish a California task force on family caregiving to, one, examine issues relative to the challenges faced by family caregivers and opportunities to improve caregiver support. Two, to review the current network and the services and supports available to caregivers. And three, to provide policy recommendations to the legislature by July 1, 2018. I'd like to introduce two witnesses. Blanca Castro, AARP Advocacy Manager, and Michelle Nevins. Yes. Okay, Michelle Nevins, Del Oro Caregiver Resource Center Executive Director.
Mr. Chair, I want to move the resolution. Second.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can we present?
Please.
Okay. Thank you. Chairman Hadley, thank you for your time. My name again is Blanca Castro, Advocacy Manager for the AARP California State Office. And just briefly, I do want to address that. First of all, I want to commend Assemblymember Brown for taking the lead and bringing on to fruition the concurrent Resolution 38, which would basically at this point, the normal family is today is a caregiver. And it's an intensely personal issue, even for myself. At the age of 15, my mother, who was 39 at the time, suffered from a massive stroke that left her paralyzed to the left side. I became a caregiver full-time. And at that time, there was very little information and resources. Today, there are a lot of support services. The problem that we have faced in front of us, however, is there are about 4 million caregivers that are unpaid. This, the individuals don't know where to go to get information, how to access that information, and the services are there. So what this task force would do would give us an immediate recommendations. It is very short term, and it would provide the state legislators with immediate recommendations from people not only in the field but caregivers themselves. And so AARP is strongly in support of ACR 38. We believe this problem can be resolved. It should be resolved so that anybody could either pick up a phone, go to a website, or obtain information in writing about what services and supports are available for them so that they can care for their loved one at home. Thank you for your time. And I ask for a yes vote for ACR 38.
Ms. Castro, thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Michelle Nevins, and I'm the Executive Director of Del Oro Caregiver Resource Center. This is all we do is work with family caregivers day in, day out. We're in the trenches. And the sheer volume of caregivers that we have calling us every day is ever increasing. We've actually had more caregivers call us than ever before. I've been there for 16 years, and we can't keep up with the demand. So we know the demand is there. Services are becoming, or have been, actually very fragmented and difficult for families to find, in addition to having agencies such as ourselves not being able to keep up with demand because services have been eroded through funding cuts. Upwards of 74% since 2009. Nothing's changing, and we're not sure where to turn some of these folks that we have to turn away. So I would really encourage your vote on this in support of ACR 38. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have other witnesses in support of the ACR? And if so, we've got a microphone over here.
Yes, my name is Mike Montgomery. I'm speaking on behalf of the Congress of California Seniors, and in memory of Betty Perry, we support the bill.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Susan DeMorris on behalf of the Alzheimer's Association. We support this bill.
Carol Sewell for the California Commission on Aging. We're pleased to be a co-sponsor of this measure, and we ask for your aye vote.
Yes, Darrell Kelch with the California Association of Area Agencies on Aging in support of the bill.
Thank you. Any witnesses in opposition to the ACR? Are there any other witnesses who want to speak neither for nor against? That's often a possibility. I'll bring it back to the committee then, my colleagues.
Mr. Chair, I believe we have a motion and a second.
Yes, we do. Anybody else? I have.
My question was.
I have one question, Madam Chairwoman. There is no fiscal cost to this, as I understand the bill. Does the staff exist within the department to do the work to conduct the study that you have in mind, that this legislation has in mind?
This legislation will be handled outside of this place, and it will be handled through universities and through AARP and through the sponsors of the legislation. Yes.
And do you already have a vision for who's going to conduct the study?
We had it outlined in the bill, but we were told that we needed to take it out.
Right.
So that will be then the next thing that we do. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I add
you want
to that? And it's important to note that ARP we are one of the many foundations that will be contributing to the cost of running this task force. So the University of Southern California School of Gerontology has already agreed that they would staff it. They would be working in the logistics and coordinating it. And we realize that that's going to be the bulk of the work that has to be done, but it is going to be a private-public partnership throughout.
Okay. Thank you for that.
I asked for your vote, if that's what you're asking me.
I was about to ask you to close. Thank you. Okay, please call the roll.
Brown.
Aye.
Brown, aye. Hadley.
Aye.
Hadley, aye. Gibson.
Aye.
Gibson, aye. Gray.
Aye.
Gray, aye. Levine. Levine, aye. Lopez. Mathis.
Aye.
Mathis, aye.
Terrific.
Thank you. Thank you.
And don't go anywhere because you've got another bill.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair and committee members. The Assembly Joint Resolution AJR 8 would recognize the 50th anniversary of the Older Americans Act of 1965. And I do have a couple of people who have come out of their way to speak, and I will allow them to speak. Mr. Kelch and Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Chair, members, Darrell Kelch, Executive Director of the California Association of Area Agencies on Aging, representing the 33 area agencies here in California. We want to thank Assemblymember Brown for stepping forward and introducing this resolution that recognizes the Older Americans Act, a milestone that began 50 years ago in serving our seniors. The act was really a major step because it was the first national policy in recognizing the value of older persons and also recognizing the need to provide services that would maintain their independence and dignity. During the last 50 years, the Older Americans Act has contributed to the well-being of millions of older Californians, and currently the 4.5 million of seniors here in California. These services focus on the neediest and the frailest of the seniors. The Act also created the Area Agencies on Aging, which is a local entity responsible, actually federally mandated, to provide planning, coordination, and delivery of services to our seniors. They try to deliver these services to keep seniors in the least restrictive environment and maintain their independence so that they can live in the community. I need to note that area agencies are generally the first place that seniors look to provide assistance and services. Again, let me just say that the Older Americans Act is the foundation of our national policy as we view older people. And so that we ask that you recognize the importance of this act and that you join us as area agencies in celebrating its 50th anniversary. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Vice Chair Hadley and members, I'm Sandy Fitzpatrick. I'm the Executive Director for the California Commission on Aging. As a former director of one of California's area agencies on aging, I was able to see firsthand how these programs made a real difference at the local level in your districts. For 50 years, the Older Americans Act has guided the development of vital and important home and community-based programs for older adults and their caregivers in our state. You know the list of critical services if you think back to your district. You know that they include meals, job training, caregiver support, health promotion, transportation, information, and assistance. These help elders protect their dignity, ensure that they reside in the community setting of their choice. These funds also support the work of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman, the operation of many of our senior and community centers, and provide specific services to older Native Americans. The resolution signals your recognition of the Aging Network in California from the Department of Aging, the California Commission on Aging, the 33 area agencies on aging, and the too many to count numerous service providers that day by day offer that helping hand to older Californians. What's also important as this resolution is the petition for Congress to act, and to act now, to reauthorize the Older Americans Act. The act was last reauthorized in 2006. It's time for Congress to update and renew its commitment to these critical programs. We thank you, Assemblymember Brown, for introducing this resolution and strongly urge your support.
Thank you. Do we have other witnesses in support of the resolution?
Greg DeShare, representing the ARC and United Cerebral Palsy California Collaboration. As a disability group, we support the resolution because the Older Americans Act creates the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, which has proved vitally important to the well-being of residents of long-term care facilities with disabilities. Thank you.
Libby Sanchez on behalf of the California Association of Public Authorities for In-Home Supportive Services, one of the co-sponsors of this measure. It's unfortunate that over the past 10 years, funding for this important program has been slashed, just as our population of seniors who rely on these important programs has been increasing. So we hope Congress will listen to us. Thank you.
Fred Main on behalf of CalPACE, the program for the all-inclusive care for the elderly. We're in strong support. PACE programs allow frail seniors 55 years and older to continue to live independently in the community, and we think that the resolution AJR 8 is an important recognition for those seniors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa Coleman, Executive Director with the California Long-Term Care Ombudsman Association, and we thank the Assemblywoman for her efforts. The Ombudsman program is very eager to continue to serve the nearly 300,000 residents of long-term care in the state, and we ask for your support in our efforts to continue advocating. Thank you.
Michelle Nevins, Executive Director of Del Oro Caregiver Resource Center, but on behalf of the California Association of Caregiver Resource Centers, we support this bill. Thank you.
Ellie Block, member of the California Senior Legislature and member of the Joint Rules Committee of this California Senior Legislature, and also a member of the Marin County Commission on Aging, rise in support of this bill.
Hi, I'm John Joseph of the AARP California. I'm here primarily, I'm thinking about the Older Americans Act. I'm thinking about stuff that my dad worked on in 1965. At that time, I was 25 and didn't think I'd ever get old. We're here on something on aging, and I think I've reached that position. I think AARP rolls me out when they want somebody to look the part. Anyway, some of the things that happened. This is a federal bill, needs to be reauthorized because all the support and the increasing aging population need all the services that came out of this. My dad went back for the White House Conference on Aging, 65, did a lot of stuff in support of that, delivered food for Meals on Wheels, worked with the Area Board 4. So
briefly, please.
In support of him, AARP is in strong support of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Any witnesses in opposition to the resolution? Then I'll bring it back to the committee. Colleagues? Madam Chair, would you like to close?
I ask for your support and I ask for your aye vote. And when you think about it, if you're 45 now or you're in your 40s and you can access some of these services at 55, it's only 10 years away. Support.
Please call the roll.
Brown.
Aye.
Brown, aye. Hadley.
Aye.
Hadley, aye. Gibson.
Aye.
Gibson, aye. Gray.
Aye.
Gray, aye. Levine. Aye. Levine, aye. Lopez. Aye. Lopez, aye. Mathis.
Aye.
Mathis, aye.
The resolution is out.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Do you want to add on to the roll before the presentation.
Okay. Madam Secretary, could you please call the roll for those members who missed earlier?
AB 1160, AB 1136, Lopez. Lopez, aye. Mathis. Mathis, aye. ACR 38, Lopez. Lopez, aye.
Okay, thank you. The bills are all out now, and we can move on. Today, I'm so happy that you've all stayed because you're in for a real education. We're fortunate to have one of the world's leading researchers on Alzheimer's disease. As soon as as we look at the people, 54% of older Californians struggle monthly to meet housing costs.
Oh, wait. Those are.
And
that's not. I'm sorry. Those are your talking points for.
You see what they did to me. You see what he did to me?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So you wanted him to introduce, but
Right.
first you want to talk about Alzheimer's.
Right. Okay. I was going right, and he just. It's his fault.
Different issue.
Alzheimer's is a progressive disease. It starts slowly, and then it worsens over time. Common symptoms include short-term memory loss, problems with language, disorientation, mood swings, a loss of motivation, and behavioral issues. And there are currently no drugs that prevent it. At this time, I would like for Mr. Levine to introduce Dr. Bredesen, as he is affiliated with the Buck Institute on Aging in Mr. Levine's district. So would you please introduce?
Sure. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'm pleased to present today's speaker, Dr. Dale Bredesen. Thank you for being here. He's the founding president and CEO of the Buck Institute for Research on Aging. The Buck Institute is the first center in the nation focused exclusively on aging. Dr. Bredesen's resume reads like a tour of duty at our nation's top research institutions. In addition to the Buck Institute, Dr. Bredesen has worked at Duke, UCSF, UCLA, and the Burnham Institute. I would be remiss if I did not recognize our senior legislators here from Marin County, Ms. Ellie Block and Mr. Alan Bortel. Mr. Bortel was instrumental in connecting the committee with Dr. Bredesen, so thank you very much for that, Alan. Dr. Bredesen and his team has helped develop a new approach to the treatment of Alzheimer's disease and has led to groundbreaking work that shows a reversal of symptoms. And I'm glad that we've got the reports that I have, the reports in our binders. I'm sure we can get them to anyone who is here in the crowd. And I'm very interested in hearing from him. But you'll have to excuse me because tonight is my wife's birthday, and I have to get back to San Rafael. But otherwise, I would be sitting here captivated because when we celebrate my wife's birthday, we will be doing so with my wife's 96-year-old grandmother. And her grandfather suffered from dementia, and so this is something that's very interesting to and near and dear to our family. So, without any more excuses, I'm very pleased to introduce Dr. Dale Bredesen, and I look forward to the committee learning more about his promising research. Thank you.